back to the Unfiltered Trainer. I am your host, Gina, aka Gina Marie Fit. And before we get into this Hot Topic Tuesday, I kind of like the way that sounds. I just need to give a shout out to you, the listener, making this journey possible. Last week I launched my podcast, and my podcasting host site gives you like updates about downloads and how your podcast is resonating. And I already had 250 people download my podcast in the first week, which is super important for reach. So I just want to say thank you for going along this journey with me. I can say that it's honestly terrifying. And not everybody's going to be able to understand your journey and the circumstances that you've gone through. And so I know that that's what makes this process so scary is, there's going to be conversations about what you're putting out there. And hopefully it resonates well and people know that it's the best intentions. You just want to create a safe space, a place where you can be open and honest. And maybe you're not going to agree with what I have to say in this episode or an upcoming episode, or maybe it's uncomfortable to you what I've already put out there. We should be able to have those open, honest conversations. And that's what this podcast is meant to be. It's called the Unfiltered Trainer for a reason. And I'm going to say things in my very direct way and just put it out there. And so I feel like this is like the perfect spot to transition in today's topic, which is BFT and F45. Why I felt BFT was right for me, and can it be right for you too? Obviously, being on the founding team and a new gym coming to a new part of town, there's a lot of questions going on, a lot of conversations in the DMs. I've not reached out to anybody personally because I feel like this is going to be something that's created on its own. But I get a lot of messages when I start sharing things, especially because this Thursday, which is why I'm so excited to share this podcast, it's perfect timing, is our first bootcamp at Armature Works. We secured that partnership a couple weeks ago, and I'm so excited because I love Armature Works. It's actually my favorite place in Tampa, and their team that builds all their events, they're always doing the most for their community, and they include anybody that's willing to show up, be consistent, and have a good product. And so there's so many other gyms in Tampa that also are partnered there that share their free community classes, and I just love that we're adding another element to their event calendar to bring the most to the people of Tampa. And so BFT and F45 obviously have a lot of similarities. They definitely have some differences, and there's certain things that I personally resonate the most with, which is why I feel that one aligns more than the other with my personal goals and what I want to do with my personal training career in Tampa. And so if you don't know either, you're unfamiliar, especially with BFT being the new kid on the block, they're very similar in the sense that they're group fitness classes that like boutique style studio based workout. F45 is functional training based on movement patterns you're going to be doing throughout your daily life. And their whole concept is you're not just trying to get fit for the gym, but you're getting fit to establish a healthy long-term lifestyle. And so obviously the 45 is the 45 minutes. BFT is similar in the sense that it's another group training studio. Their classes are 50 minutes, but their focus is on elite strength training. They have a cardio component, but it's definitely more focused on strength training. And I'll break down all of the classes as we progress through this episode that'll make you kind of like aid you in understanding. When I say elite strength training, it's not just like a tagline when you could say like, oh, it's the best workout in your life or the best results in your life. No, the science behind it proves why it's on that next level of training. And so both studios utilize the TVs. They have that technology component. They both have templated workouts, meaning there's certain workouts that are done on certain days in a certain series. They're all programmed out by performance managers who obviously have extensive research and backgrounds in what they do. And so they're built with the sense that there's going to be certain programs you're doing at certain times of the year. And also they both have heart rate monitor systems. At the particular studio I worked at, we didn't really utilize them. Everybody at that studio has an Apple Watch or like those running Garmin watches, those really nice like fancy watches. And so we didn't really utilize the heart rate monitor a lot because everybody had one of those watches. And so you didn't really get to well verse in the benefits of them other than seeing what heart rate zone people were at and making sure that somebody wasn't like too high of a heart rate zone that's like unsafe to be working out. Where the difference comes in with BFT is that heart rate monitor system is part of why this place is so game changing. Their heart rate monitor system had multiple, and I mean multiple courses, y'all. There was some extensive training about how they utilize their heart rate monitor systems. And so with BFT, there's different like levels you can achieve in each classes. You get like medals for performance, and you not only know what heart rate zone you're in, but you're supposed to be working at certain capacities. They utilize a lot of science behind their workouts, and they stress your energy systems you're supposed to be working in each class, which aligns with that heart rate zone. And so if you see on that monitor when that member is like trying to go all out and it's not a day where you're supposed to be like going to your max potential, they're going to fail that class and they won't medal or reach that attainable goal because they're not following the program and the periodization that's set for that day. And it's not bad in the sense that like you're not scolding somebody, but it's a great opportunity for the personal trainers there to educate the members so that they get the most out of each workout. The thing that I notice the most that I feel like makes it very familiar is the fact that obviously group studios come with communities. I've been to so many group training studios in Tampa, and every single community is different. When I helped take over at F45 at the location I was working at, there wasn't a community. And so I think it's something to be super proud of for the team that we had when I was working there, is that we took that place from being a place that you just worked out at and left and created a place that really felt like home for people, myself included. It's a place that you felt seen and heard. And I know it's a big struggle in Tampa, and I have body dysmorphia and I've dealt with this myself, is that if you don't look like the typical Tampa person, you don't belong. And I know some of my friends that I work with were so afraid to come to the studio I was teaching at because it was in downtown Tampa. And to them, downtown Tampa meant a certain aesthetic that they didn't feel like they fit in at. And so it's really something to be proud of. And I'm so grateful for the people that I was working with at the time, because we created a community. We created a place that literally still lives on to this day. And even though I'm not a part of this organization anymore, I love seeing all those members still hang out. I saw them going to Friendsgiving. They're going to different events. They're supporting each other in their businesses. It just makes my heart so happy to know that there's such a good group of people in this city that isn't so worried about the surface level bullshit. They truly want to get to know people. They want to know you on a deeper level, and they're accepting of who you are, even if it's not perfection. And so it's really an honorable thing to create that community there, and just see it thriving still literally makes my heart just like want to explode. I'm so glad I got to be a part of that. And honestly, that's the thing that makes me so excited about being on the founding team at BFT, because we're setting the tone from day one, literally day zero, to be quite honest. As we've had these meetings, all we want is it to be positive. We just want it to be a safe space for people to work out. It's obviously an elite strength training group studio, but you're still welcome at all fitness levels. And so whether it's your day zero or you're like an Olympic lifter, you're going to find a place and get an exceptional workout. And I'm just grateful for the team that I get to run the studio with, because we're all from Pennsylvania, which just blows my mind. We're all very direct, very honest. Like, I just feel like it's going to be a no nonsense like situation, and they're ready to hustle. And the enthusiasm in our group text messages just warms my heart so much, because I know they want this just as badly as me to succeed, because we so badly want this to truly be just a next level experience. You're going to invest that money. You're going to get that personal training, and the results, if you keep showing up, we're going to show up for you, and those results will be inevitable. And so both things that I feel like is most important about, both similarities, I should say, that's most important about those studios is the community. Without the community, you have nothing. That retention comes from providing an exclusive experience to your members that you don't get at a box gym. And I want to say this disclaimer, because people get really sensitive when you emphasize like one type of training versus another. I lift. I'm obsessed with Pilates. I love taking mat classes at camp with Mel Lassa. If you ever see her on the schedule, you need to take her class. And I love taking reformer Pilates at Core Reform in Midtown. I'm not kidding you, like strength training and with Pilates is the game changer for your results. And so that doesn't mean that box gyms are bad. Like if you spend your time at Crunch, I spend my time at Optimum when I'm lifting heavy. Before my accident, I was a member at Optimum too, even though I worked at F45. There is no one size fits all. There is no one workout that's going to be the best for everyone. The emphasis on today's podcast is sharing my transition to BFT, why I'm so excited about it, but that doesn't negate or make any other studio or gym less than. For price points, not everybody can afford group training. Some people can afford an even higher level of group training. There are studios in Tampa that are several $100s. BFT, the introductory offer is 25% off your unlimited membership. It's coming in below everything. And so it's right under F45. It's less than Barry's. It's less than Suka. But if you're looking for something that's just a gym and you see it as just a gym, yes, an $194 membership is going to sound expensive to you. And I want to come from a place of understanding as well, because I went through it this year, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, when my company got taken over by another company and they cut our pay by 20%. That was detrimental to my financial situation. And so spending $200 on a gym is a lot to a lot of people. And we have to respect that there's a reason why BFT, just like F45, is going to offer a variety of memberships so that you have that versatility, the flexibility to come that works for you, and that it will fit in your price point. There's a way to make it work for everybody. And so those other options at BFT will be launching as we open the studio. But right now, they are truly, like, the discount right now is crazy, honestly. 25% off is insane. When you guys hear, as I'm about to drop, the programming and how they're bringing this to just a next level for Tampa, you'll understand why it's truly worth making that investment. And so the thing about my experience at F45 and the difference in now what's coming for BFT is the programming. So for me personally, what set the tone when I learned about BFT is the programming. And so F45 and BFT both have templated programs where they're created for the coaches. The coaches learn them, they execute them, they provide progressions and regressions, but that is a set class for that day. And so both studios have certain classes on certain days. Both studios have personal training in a group setting. The thing that's definitely different about BFT, and I think that's going to help a lot, is that BFT has 2 to 3 coaches per class when F45 had 1 to 2. So at F45 on a strength day, you always had 2 coaches, but on a cardio day, you only had 1 coach. And that was one of the biggest hiccups sometimes, is when you're teaching a class of 36, some of those cardio days you had equipment and you'd spend a lot of your time swapping out equipment trying to help a member, and then the set's already over. And so one of the issues I had with F45 teaching was that sometimes we'd be transitioning too fast and the member wouldn't even get to that next station. They'd be like sprinting to the next station and then the station had already started. And so I'm hoping with BFT that, like, those little things that you notice as a personal trainer will definitely be worked through the programming with their rest periods and recovery, which we're going to talk about when I explain the classes. You'll see that difference in recovery and rest time, and then the duration of sets and rep focus that's going to help negate that issue of not having enough time to get to your next station and get to your next set. A big difference for me is the way that BFT is doing their programming with the equipment. And so at F45, we had implemented the skiers, which was really nice. They added that cardio equipment and resistance bikes. At BFT, they elevated even more. They add treadmills into it. And when it comes to strength training, it's tagged as an elite strength training studio because at F45, you have a certain max weight. With the kettlebell, you have these black kettlebells. Once you hit the black kettlebell, there's nothing heavier unless you pick up a dumbbell. You're limited in that sense when you're ready to progress to a heavier weight. At BFT, you take that and you elevate it because they do have squat racks. They have those bench presses. They have a sufficient amount of heavier weight. So when you're ready to progress, if you feel like you're plateauing, whether you're at F45 or you're at camp, you're at another studio in Tampa, if you feel like, hey, I wanted to be doing more in terms of strength training, you'll see that alignment when I review the classes. But what set the tone for me is that I want to learn and do more, and there's only so much you can do with limited equipment packages until F45 expands their equipment packages. And so at BFT, there definitely is more equipment. You have more options for progressions, regressions, making sure it's more individualized, and having that added depth of the equipment just elevates the experience that much more. Now, this is where it's going to get like we're throwing it back to biology class, y'all. We are going to talk about the innovative, progressive, and results-driven programming that is the basis of BFT. And so BFT really strives to be more than just a group fitness class. You're specifically following programs that's scientifically designed to burn fat, to build muscle, and to get you epic results. They have 13 classes in the queue already, and they actually just announced that they're loading even more classes. So I'm going to go over the base 13 classes that you can expect when we launch the new studio at the beginning of 2024. And you'll see that they're progressive nature based on 3 areas that they focus on. So they focus on making sure that you're activating all 3 types of muscle fibers. They emphasize working through the 3 planes of movement, and then they focus on stressing your 3 energy systems. And so when I was completing my 10 hours of fundamental training last week, when they started talking about the glycolytic systems, aerobic, anaerobic, if you have like a base in science or you took those classes, you know where it's going. So the programming is set to make sure that you stress every energy system. You're going to train every muscle fiber. And by working through those different planes of movement, you're going to have these programs that are designed by elite strength and conditioning coaches backed by science that's meant for any level. Whether you're an elite athlete or you're just new to fitness, you're going to get that next level experience by the way that these programs are designed. The periodization in programming is what really just sets the tone for all of this, honestly. And you're going to hear me say it repeatedly. It is just very intentional, and that's where you can take a group fitness class, even though it's personal trainers, even though you're around a lot of people, and make it individualized. And so the first cardio class they have is something called Cardio U, and they really emphasize that U component. And so it's all about each member's function. And so you have a specifically prescribed heart rate zone that you're going to work for, and then you have set recovery periods. And so this enables you to bring your heart rate down to the recommended targeted zones before you rev it back up. And it's really nice because it gives you a better understanding of your physical limits. Instead of just feeling like you're dying in a class, you're going to know exactly what limits you can push, what are your safe zones, and then it'll teach you how to recover from intense work periods regardless of your level of fitness and conditioning, which makes it actually feel like it's possible instead of just like a struggle. One class I'm really excited about is something called Hyper. It's one of their high volume hypertrophy style training classes that focuses on form and function. And so it's all about unilateral loaded movements, lateral movements, and there is a little slight twist, and I like it, on conventional strength training exercises in this class. So you're challenging those prime movers, you're challenging your stabilizers, and you have a core component because you're alternating between your upper and lower body focus. So you truly get a well-rounded resistance-based workout. Then they have something called HIRT, HIRT, which stands in their terms of high intensity resistance training. And so this class has 3 components. It has an EMOM, an AMRAP, and an AFAP, as I'm calling it. It means as fast as possible. With your EMOM, it's every minute on the minute. And for their AMRAP, they go as many reps as possible. I know some people do as many rounds as possible. For this specific class, it's going to be as many reps as possible. And it's meant to complement and reinforce the movement patterns that you completed in your strength classes. One class is called XTX, and it's that full body workout where you're working through metabolic complexes and resistance exercises. So you're specifically targeting your aerobic system with short and long duration efforts. So you're working those metabolic systems to their max potential. Then you have something called Pump, which is a high volume resistance class that specifically targets either upper or lower body. And in this class, your metabolism is revved up sufficiently so that you're actually burning calories for up to 36 hours after that class. So you're really getting a great high volume resistance based class, but your body is still benefiting long after when you exit that studio. Another one of their cardio classes is called Cardio Summit, and it's what's going to push push your cardiovascular endurance to the limits. And I really like this because in physical therapy, a lot of my patients struggle with endurance. So I like that there's a class specifically set out to have longer duration efforts. They're designed to target your aerobic energy system, but it actually focuses on your aerobic capacity. So it teaches you how to recover quicker in the short, high intensity efforts that you'll actually experience in other classes. And that's what I'm talking about, is it's so intentional with the programming that it benefits and plays off of the other classes you're going to experience. And so another one of their classes is their cardio HIIT class. And so their HIIT class is classified as high intensity intermittent training. And so you're burning your max amount of calories in this class while you're training at an intensity that's only possible in short burst durations. And so you're really going hard in those short work periods. And then you have your heart rate elevated, which you're tracking in the studio. And then it focuses on training at higher intensities, which helps to maximize your EPOC. If you're not a personal trainer, EPOC is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And so this is another class where you're going to notice that you're burning calories for up to 36 hours after the class. One class that I'm very excited about, and I feel like it's going to be really challenging, is called Balance. It's a full body workout that keeps you in literal balance. I like the way they just play on things on words, because it's targeting all of the muscle groups in one class. And so you're working through those full available ranges of motion to improve mobility, stability, and your functional ability while focusing on unilateral and anti-rotational movements. And so this class is going to be vital in programming because it works to help you more efficiently. So you maximize your performance across all of your other classes. And I like that they highlight this, because something I can't stand about training at any group training is that no matter where you're at, F45, BFT, camp, Union 3, is that when people just push you to lift heavier, lifting heavier does not equate results. Lifting heavier when you don't have the sufficient foundational strength, when you don't have the full available range of motion, just leads to you increasing your risk for energy and getting less out of that intended workout than you should. The answer isn't always to pick up a heavier weight when you're working out. Sometimes it's actually picking up that lighter weight, finding a way to modify that, whether it's time under tension, adding a pause, adding a pulse. There's so many things you can do to get a sufficient amount of work that doesn't equate to just picking up a heavier weight that you're not ready to be lifting. Another one of their strength classes that I find very interesting in a good way is their strength endurance class, because it's meant to help you stay stronger for longer. And I feel like all of us are aging every single day. So this is a super important class because it's a resistance class that has a cardio and strength component, but you're utilizing similar muscle groups. So that's how you elicit muscle strength. They have a foundational class, which I like when you go to a CrossFit studio, when they have that foundations class that teach you the basic movement patterns. Theirs is literally just called strength, and it's your foundation class for BFT programming. And in that class, you're going to build overall strength throughout your compound lifts, which are super important to build on for progressions. And so it teaches you how to build that lean muscle, which helps to actually decrease your risk for injuries, which is super important. And so while you are increasing the amount of weight you're lifting in this class specifically, you're actually going to learn how to lift and maintain the proper form and movement patterns with that sufficiently heavier weight. They have a power class, which is kind of scary to me because it expresses your strength and explosive movement. So you know what's coming. Plyometrics and compound movement patterns. So you're emphasizing your fast twitch muscle fibers as you're going through heavy lifts and then having alternate movements that are plyometric and explosive. There's one class that's definitely going to push everybody to the limit, and it's the only one that's highlighted as a partner class, and it's Beast Mode. Beast Mode is a combination of martial arts discipline. They actually have partner work and bag work, which I find very interesting. They also elicit some extra conditioning in those classes, so it makes it fun. It seems like it's really energy packed. All the videos for that class were its own module, and there's so much to learn for it, but it's definitely meant for all levels of boxing experience. So if you haven't done it, or you do have a history with boxing or martial arts, I feel like that workout is definitely going to cater towards a really specific demographic that's going to be hype. Lastly, the one class we're going to talk about is shred. And so it's the best of both worlds in terms of training because you've got high intensity cardio and strength training. And so you're building that lean muscle, you're increasing your aerobic capacity within the same class, which helps you not only burn calories, but build that foundational strength. And so for me, when you think of all of the places I've worked out, but specifically where I just trained at, where I was a personal trainer at F45 to now going to BFT, I like that it's going to teach me, it's going to progress me, it's going to push me outside of my comfort zone in a way that I haven't been pushed before. There's a lot that BFT is bringing to the table. And so I know I'm getting a lot of questions of like, what's right for me? So I'm just going to give you this disclaimer that I'm giving everybody because I'm not going to go out in my DMs and like push somebody to do one versus the other. I don't think that's necessary. I think there's certain studios that are better for certain people, certain environments where people will thrive than others. And so when you're deciding what's right for you, whether you're on the fence about F45 or you're not sure if BFT is going to be the right place for you, I think the thing that I've noticed the most is just the differences in programming. Cardio is definitely more of a thing at F45. I feel like at BFT, they really do a great job of strength days are strength days, cardio days are cardio days. And then when you want to elicit both types of movement patterns, having a set duration and expectation in each class, utilizing those heart rate zones is what really elevates that experience so that you're getting the most out of every single class. I feel like a big thing is just where you're at in your journey. If you feel like you're getting great results doing what you're doing, I know a couple of people from the camp studio have asked me about BFT. If what you're doing works for you and you enjoy it, then just take that opportunity to take a class at BFT. You know, if you want to just try it out, you have that option. We're going to be doing the boot camps outside with some of the equipment we have. We are going to start bringing a little bit of equipment out to give you a good idea of what to expect. And then when the studio opens, you come in and have that experience and see if it's right for you. One thing I will say is whatever you're doing, whether that's F45, camp, Union 3, doesn't matter what you're doing or just going to crunch. If you're plateauing and you're not getting the results you desire, then yes, you got to make that hard decision to do what's best for you and put yourself out there and try something new. What's incredible in Tampa is that yes, it's small. There are so many options here. And it's nice because there's room for everybody to be successful. Last year, I hosted Sweating Together for a Cause, and I brought literally all of our direct competitors in the Sparkman Wharf together for a charity event, and it was amazing. And so many people that were there tried out different studios as a result of that charity event. And that's what should happen. We should all be able to support one another, to be able to share the genuine excitement you have for a new endeavor or a new business. I obviously have a lot to say about BFT because it's new for me. I'm super enthusiastic because it gave me a full-time opportunity that I have been striving for literally since April. Like I've wanted to elevate myself and I have been applying to a million different jobs and avenues and things just were not working for me. And this came in, like this literally fell into my lap at the most perfect time. And that is why I'm just so excited and so grateful and have so much enthusiasm to share about BFT is because it gave me everything I was looking for. And I just want to pour my heart and soul into it and give it back tenfold what it gave me. And I just don't want that to come off as like disheartening or disrespectful to any of the organizations I've been a part of or any of the places I have memberships at. I loved F45 and I still love F45 because it literally gave me my best friends. When I walked in that first week, I was done precepting for my physical therapy job and I had nothing else to do. And I took this 5:30 class. And because of the coaches, Steph and Nicolette, that were teaching those classes at that time, I literally had this amazing experience. And in that class, I met some of my best friends in Tampa who I'm still friends with to this day. I'm still friends with so many members that still go there. And I still like heart all of their posts when they're sharing, killing their workouts. F45 is always going to have a special place in my heart. And I'm just grateful that I had the experience that I had there. I learned a lot. I also learned that I have a lot I need to learn and I need to grow as a person. And I saw a variety of things in me that I'm capable of doing and that I need to work on. And so I'm grateful for where I have been. I'm grateful for where I'm going. And that literally at the end of the day is what this podcast is about, is being open and honest and sharing my personal accounts of my experiences, where I'm at, talking about hot topics that are popular, that might be controversial, things that might be hard to hear because you too have had those thoughts or you've been in those scenarios. I know my birthday episode is the highest downloaded episode. And the fact that so many people have reached out to me to tell me they too have had similar thoughts and experiences breaks my heart, but at the same time resonated tenfold why I'm the right person to do what I'm doing, because I'm letting them know, because not everybody has somebody in their life that supports their issues, their struggles, their setbacks, especially when it comes to mental health, that there is a safe space you can go. There is somebody that is going to listen to you and actually can resonate with what you're saying because they've been there. And, it's very important when I was told that it's okay to not be okay because the world just wants us to be perfect and on and happy all the time. It's okay to have those emotions, to have those roller coasters, to feel the way you feel, and then work through it so that you can be on the other side. And like I am sitting here today, I can look at myself in the mirror and I am so freaking proud that I have survived this year, that I truly just want to give back tenfold and make as much as I can to have more time to give back in every shape, way possible. I just want to do more with my life and reach more people. And all I want to do is make a difference in this world. And that is the perspective I want to bring to this podcast. It's going to be unfiltered. I'm going to say what needs to be said. Sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. And sometimes you may not like it yourself because you're hearing what you know you need to hear, but you might not be ready to hear it. But that is how we elicit change. If you keep doing the same things and expecting different results, it's a definition of insanity, which is why I was losing my mind this year. Sometimes we have to be forced outside of our comfort zones to do the things that we are set to do. And that is what's going to happen on this podcast, is we're going to expand on things. We're going to talk. We're going to have some chats. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some interviews coming in 2024, which I'm super excited to share. But I just want this to be a safe, open, honest space and provide what needs to be provided to those in those moments. And so I hope this resonated with you. I hope you can share in my excitement for my new endeavor. And I hope that I see you at Armature Works on 12/14 at 5:30 on that west lawn. If not, we'll be out there again on 12/28, same time, same place, and you'll be able to catch us in the weekend rotations starting in 2024. All right, y'all, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was informative. Stay tuned and we'll chat soon.